Marshall Trimble is joining us here for a special edition of Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains. We're going to take you out and about other areas in this great state. Take it away, Marshall.
They went that way. Bert Alvord was the constable of Wilcox, Arizona, about in the late 1890s. And Bert he'd been a former deputy for John Slaughter when John Slaughter was Cochise County Sheriff. And Slaughter pronounced him fearless. But he had his favorite hobbies were guns and horses and practical jokes and beer, just having a good time. But he was not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and even he would admit that. In fact, that's how he thought he could pull this robbery, because he thought they'll know that I'm not smart enough to do that. But he was pretty clever, and as was shown in this, he concocted a plan with his friends Bill Downing and Billy Stiles, and they were going to let's see, Matt Burtz was there too, and they were going to pull a robbery here and rob the train while they were playing poker. And here's how they were going to do it. They bribed the porter at Schwertner's Saloon, and they were going to be in the back room, and the porter was supposed to bring them some drinks on a tray, and ever so often, and pour the drinks out, of course, while they were gone. And then he'd go back in, and to everybody he'd say, "Boy, those boys sure are drinking the booze tonight, and they don't want to be bothered. They're in a serious poker game, and they don't want anybody bothering them. So don't anybody go in there." Well, this is what he was bribed to say. And so meanwhile, the boys had gone out the window, got on their horses, and rode out to. There's a sharp incline west of Wilcox, a few miles as it goes up towards Cochise Station, and that's where the train had to go real slow. So they got down, and they put their horses a couple of miles ahead, went back down the tracks, and when the train was going real slow, Bert and Billy jumped on and stuck a pistol in the engineer's face and told him to stop the train. They were going to separate the messenger car, the Wells Fargo car, from the passenger train, passenger cars, and the mail car. And so they did that, and they left the passenger sitting down here, and they went on up, got the engineer to go on up about 2 miles to where Bill Downing was waiting for him, and they broke into the safe. They didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to blow it up or anything. And the express guy had jumped out and skipped out when he saw they were being robbed. He went down to the track to the passengers, and they broke in there and got the money. It wasn't much. It's interesting. They got about maybe $2,000, $3,000. Wells Fargo was always reluctant to talk about how much was taken. They didn't want to advertise. It would be a target of opportunity for other outlaws, and so. But it's funny because as the stories of this robbery were told up to this day, is now $40,000-$50,000, and that's how these things grow. And so anyway, they got the money. They came back into town. Stashed the money, God only knows where, but Bert took it. He says, I don't want you guys spending money around town, because anybody that comes around Wilcox spending money that doesn't usually have money, they're immediate suspect. And he said, we don't want to arouse that. So he took the money and he stashed it. I don't know where he put it. I often thought he went to the baseball field and dug up home plate and put it down there and covered it up, because nobody would think of the stash would be in under home plate. And if I ever rob a train, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the nearest ballpark. And anyway, they went back, sat down at the table, and in the meantime, the train backs into Wilcox, and they're looking for the marshal for old Bert, and Bert Bert Alvord. By the way, Dr. C.L. Sonnickson was one of my mentors, was a great Southwest historian, and he said the reason Bert Alvord isn't better known is he was so ugly. And he was bald-headed. So I later wrote a story about him called The Bald-Headed Fox of Old Will Cox. But anyhow, he didn't. That's probably why he's not better known. But anyway, they're sitting there, and the engineer says, "Where's the marshal?" And he said, "Oh, he's back there playing poker. Doesn't want to be disturbed." And he said, "Well, I'm going to disturb him. We've been robbed." So he opens up the door, and there the boys are, casually playing poker, trying to keep a poker face. And he says, "The train's been robbed." And old Bert says, "Oh, my God. Great Scott. We've got to raise a posse. You and you." He points to Billy Stiles and Bill Downing, and he deputizes the two other robbers. And then they get on their horses and says, "We'll run those outlaws down. We'll get those scallywags." And off he goes. They come back the next day and say, they got away. And suspicions are aroused because people were naturally suspicious. It was just where were Bert and the two Billies during this whole thing. And Bert would just always say, "Well, you guys all know I'm not smart enough to do that." And they kind of brushed it off. But they're kind of getting a little suspicious, but nobody can do anything. And Bert believes they've actually gotten away with it. Fast forward to February the 15th. This was in late 1899, and on February the 14th, another part of Bill's gang, of Bert's gang, went out and pulled a robbery at Fairbank. That's between Benson and Tombstone. And so they, and this time it's Matt Burt's was with him, and it was Three Finger Jack Dunlap. I love these names, and Bravo Juan Yoles, and the Owens brothers, and they're on the deck there of the platform at the depot, pretending to be drunk cowboys, and making fools of themselves, acting drunk. Well, the train is coming in. Now they have arranged, Billy Stiles is part of the planning here, and that they know they wanted to make sure that a guy named Jeff Milton, former Texas Ranger and known as a good man with a gun, was the Wells Fargo messengers. And so the train was coming up from Nogales, and so they get on the phone and call and make sure that Jeff Milton's not on the train, and they're assured he's not. So, well, it turns out at the last minute, Milton had to be a replacement. The other guy couldn't make it, the other messenger. So Milton is on that train, and they come rolling in to Fairbank, and the door to the express car is wide open. Milton is standing in the doorway, and nobody's expecting anything to happen at a train station with all the people around. But immediately, as soon as the train pulls in, these cowboys sober up and draw their guns and start shooting. And they shoot Milton right in, and severs an artery in his shoulder, and it was a permanent injury. Milton falls over the trunk, and they think he's dead. So they start charging in to the express car, and Milton comes up with a 10-gauge sawed-off Wells Fargo shotgun. He just rises up out from behind that trunk, as badly wounded as he is, and he fires. And Bravo One sees it, and he's first to see the shotgun, and he spins around. And he has to take a load of buckshot right at where a cowboy sitting on a horse doesn't like to be shot. There are a lot of better places to be shot. The other barrel went into Three Finger Jack, and it just got him right in the midsection, and it was a mortal wound. And so the boys get away. They just take off. There's no money, no nothing, and a posse is formed, and they go in pursuit. Well, they get out on the trail a little ways, and Three Finger Jack is holding them up, and they know he's going to die. So they say, "Jack, you're done for. You're holding us up. We can't take you. We can't keep you. You got to just wait here." And so I don't think Three Finger Jack liked that very much, being left by his buddies. But he's lying there by the trail, and the others ride off, and here comes the posse. And here's Three Finger Jack waving all three fingers and says, "Boys, have I got a story to tell you." And he spilled the beans on the whole thing, on the first robbery, they went that away robbery, and this one, the famous Fairbank train robbery, got him on that one. He just told him the whole gang, including the leader, Bert Alvord. And so Bert's goose is cooked, and they're all arrested. Three Finger Jack's dead, but Bravo One, all of them are caught, and they take them to the Tombstone Jail. And Billy Stiles decides to be a rat, a stool pigeon, and he confesses to the whole thing, and he verifies that they were all the members of the gang to the law. So now Billy's released, and he's running around, and now. These are crazy things, but this is what, who could explain? But Billy Stiles walks into the Tombstone Jail one day, and he pulls a gun on the jailer, and he releases everybody but Bill Downing. Nobody liked Bill Downing, not even the other outlaws. He was surly and mean, and he will get his a little while later in the streets of Wilcox, but that's another story. And but anyway, they leave Bill Downing in jail, cussing him out, and they take off, and they head for Mexico. So they were eventually they help the Arizona Rangers, Bert Mossman, capture the famous Mexican outlaw Agustin Chacon, and who had slain another lawman, Pablo Saltito, up in Clifton. And he's wanted for murder, but he escaped. Well, that escape is funny too. I just keep thinking more. There are more loose ends to this story. Chacon is very good looking. They call him Puedo, the hairy one, and he had this. But he had a girlfriend in every town, and he had one in Clifton, and so she comes to see him, and she brings him a Bible. The jailers, of course, think that's fine. Maybe Chacon gets some religion before we hang him. And there was a file in the spine of the Bible. And so Chacon is working on these crazy stories. There's a mariachi band that's locked up in jail. Why they were there, being off key or something, I guess. But they were locked up in the jail, and so they start playing. It was an old scratchy fiddle, and they start playing mariachi music. While Agustin Chacon is sawing the bars, and he gets them almost sawed through, and but when he's going to make his break, he has his girlfriend come back and flirt with the jailer. And more than flirt, she invites him on a moonlight stroll. And she's such a beautiful woman that the jailer just can't help himself. And he goes out for a moonlight walk with her, and I won't go into what she probably did to hold his attention, but while there, Chacon goes out and he breaks jail, and he heads for Mexico. So he's in Mexico, and Bert Mossman, he's terming out as the captain of the Arizona Rangers, and he wants just one big catch before he leaves office, and that's to catch Chacon, because he had killed a lawman, Pablo Salcito, and so they want to bring him in, and so he works a deal. He knows that Billy Stiles and Bert Alvord are in Mexico, about probably in the same area where Chacon is. And Chacon is kind of a Robin Hood, because he does all of his stealing up in Arizona, and so down in Mexico, they just leave him alone. And he's got this. He's very careful man, though. But somehow or other, Chacon Mossman is introduced to him by Bert and Billy, and so they're in on the deal because Mossman is going to speak on their behalf and get him get them lessen their jail terms when they come back, and they want to come back to Arizona, and so they're willing to betray Chacon now, and they do, and Mossman and Chacon, he gains his trust because he said, we're going to go up and we're going to steal some horses up at the Green Cattle Company up at San Rafael Valley, and so Chacon buys into it because Green had some really great horses, and so he agrees to go along with it. Well, Chacon never takes his hand off of the butt of his pistol when Mossman's around, and Mossman's got to figure out, how am I going to get him distracted just long enough to pull my gun? And so it's early one morning, and they're having coffee. Mossman rolls a cigarette, and then he hands it to Chacon and offers to light it. And so while he's lighting it, Chacon's hands come up to light the cigarette, and that's the break Mossman wanted. And he pulls his pistol and he says, "You're under arrest, Arizona Ranger." And Chacon must have cussed him out in 3 languages, and so but he's had. And Mossman brings him across the border. It caused a furor in Washington and Mexico City because he'd come into Mexico illegally and had illegally taken a Mexican citizen. But Mossman just, by this time, Colonel Green, who appreciated Mossman's service with the Rangers, he's put him up in New York City. He's living high off the hog in New York City, and he says, "Catch me if you can." And so it all blew over. And in 1902, they did hang Chacon, but he knew how to go out like a man. He comes out there, and all the girls that loved him were there to see him hang, and all of his friends were there, and he was a popular guy and a very handsome guy, and he had kind of like a movie star, only he was a deadly killer. And Mossman waves to him, and finally he looks out of the crowd. He says, "Adios, todos amigos. Time to hang." That's pretty much the end of the story. But Bert comes back. They get a little jail term, and they get it done. And then Bert, we never know where the money went because Bert wound up down in the Panama Canal area, and he died of some jungle disease. And that was the end of Bert Alvord. But that's a long story. But
well, there you have it, another special edition right here of Mysteries of the Superstition Mountains, where we took you out of the mountains into some of the other areas to explore the mysteries of Arizona. See you next time.